This will be a follow-up video from something I did in 2018. Danger, SOS, dire, evacuate, cautious, not human, a string of numbers, straight away, Ty, homicide, and the BS that happened outside of his control apparently for MH370 black box conspiracy theories. I'm going to be discussing them again because people did whatabouts during that, and then someone came by recently and maybe pay attention to it. So I thought I'd do an update on it and see if there's anything new. Not about MH370. That's also stagnant, but that's not what this was concerning. The video I did was to determine whether or not that message had anything to do with the airplane, and it didn't. It happened near but not on the anniversary of the plane disappearing, and that's about the only connection. There isn't any other. The numbers on it also do not indicate anything about the airplane. I know that sounds rather bold, but you can look up maps of subsequent work of people reanalyzing all of the data endlessly. And what it shows is there's an extremely broad pathway through which you could find an airplane if you're looking exactly the right location, but hindsight's 2020. We didn't have that at the time. My April 6, 2018 video was about debunking the authenticity of the voice message being from an airplane, not the authenticity of the voice message. Also, one person posted a comment concerning an interview between Shane Dawson and strayedaway / homicide. I want to point out that that's not the only time that any of those names have been used on social media. Connecting them required a lot more work than was available at the time. And this was also during the period of time Twitter and all the other pages, for whatever reason, 2018, you can think about, were going hell in handbasket, not letting us look up stuff for whatever reasons. Ty confirmed in an online interview on Shane Dawson's channel it was a legit message and he doesn't think it was a prank by friends. Now, I know what that says. Let's tear it apart a little bit. It was a legit message, as in he did receive the message. It has nothing to do with whether or not it's legit to do with the airplane. And I also brought up at the time that it could have been a prank by the person who received it or by a person sending it. I wasn't very clear at the time. I did it as a 5-minute video. So here we're going to have a long video that you may not want. Don't have to watch it, you know. He didn't confirm the audio was authentically from the airplane. So that kind of left that open. So I just said wrong because the person wasn't being specific enough, and I didn't follow it up afterwards. Or if I did, YouTube and Google killed off my comments, so I reposted them today. He doesn't think it was a prank by his friends, is what he said, not by friends. I know that sounds like me being pissy about stuff being left out, but those are the kind of weasel outs that I see people taking advantage of. This person who posted that comment, by the way, may not have been weaseling out. He may have been just simply correcting me because I did kind of leave a sense that I was saying one thing or another, one way or another. Throughout the video, I said, is it this? Maybe, maybe not. And then at the end I said, I don't believe it's XYZ. I do believe it is this is. So maybe they didn't watch the whole video. So let's get this done here. Shane Dawson, and almost everybody else figured out that he was simply sent a prank message, or it was an automated dump message hoping that he would call back to it. But it was no numbered to it, so that doesn't make sense. Now, we're going to talk about the numbers that were left behind. Here are the numbers. There's sets of 6 pairs of numbers. 042933964230. Now that implies strongly, except for the leading 0, that is actually, especially because of the leading 0, depending on how you look at it, that this is degrees, minutes, and seconds, latitude, longitudes. Now, a degree equals around 69 miles or 54.6 miles, depending on which direction it's latitude, longitude. A minute, which is the next pair of numbers, narrows it down to plus or minus a mile almost. It's 1.15 miles versus 0.91 mile. We just call it around 57 miles for the degrees and around a mile for the minute. And the second equals 101 feet all the way down to 80 feet, so 90 feet. I was told to use 101 feet as the basis for it if you're trying to do a treasure map. I'll give you the treasure map information if we have time at the end of the video. And their symbols for this are the easily typed in quote and double quote, as some people call it. Unfortunately, the degree symbol, depending on which computer you're using, is hard to type in. So another thing it's used for the same method is decimal degrees. Now, this is very important. Yes, 2 sets of numbers with 3 pairs each strongly screams it has to be coordinates, except that it also could be a phone number. Good morning, afternoon. If you're calling this as a phone number, please, based on the MH370 meme, don't bother. It's a number. It's a private number. People who own it are not wanting to be bothered. Someone actually posted that. I don't know how valuable that is, but just pointing out that this number also matched up with, at one time, a tracking number for a package that was shipping that week. Not kidding. And this is a voicemail, and it came from a blank number. Hell, maybe it was an eBay scam that went weird. And then the Alpha Bravo Hamster whatever, NATO phonetic alphabet or other names. Yes, we know what it's spelled out. You can quote a bag chapter and verse if you want to, but it doesn't have to be authentic about anything. And it sure as heck doesn't have to be associated with this airplane. But let's use this as degrees, minutes, and seconds. It pointed to a populated land area, which I'll use for the icon for the video if I can, and include a Google map link. And if you go plus or minus 100 feet each direction, it doesn't point to anything that shows up on any Google Maps of an impact point or anything else for many, 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 many yards, miles, or meters away or whatever. You can go ahead and look more. And the thing is, the precision is down to 100 feet. The airplane is going to be visible if you zoom in. You can look up on Google Earth more information. But anyway, what about the location being as decimal degrees? Oh, well, then now we have an interesting thing. Could we put in the degrees as 42,933? 933 being the decimal version of it? Or does it have to be 04? Now, again, if it's leading with a 0, 04293 or 293 or whatever, then you are stuck saying that has to be decimal numbers, in my opinion. So it'd be 0.42933 by 96.423 and then 0. And it really is just the 0. Now, the reason it can be just the 0 is it doesn't have to be any more digits. We only need 3 digits of precision, and that's what's given. Believe it or not, if you put in extra digits of precision, most mapping programs will zoom you in. If you don't, it zooms you out because you're dealing with a larger area. That means that last number, if we were doing degrees, minutes, and seconds, would, it equates still 100 or 80 feet or whatever. Good enough precision. And that works out to a specific degrees, minutes, and seconds thing that looks totally unlike it. It's a very confusing thing. It also goes decimal things like degrees, minutes, seconds, and tenths of seconds. It has a higher precision by a factor of down to 10 feet precision if it used decimal degrees like you use on Google Maps instead of doing degrees, minutes, and seconds. You have a higher precision. If you do enough extra digits, if you wanted to do it, you could get it down to plus or minus 1 foot or whatever, depending on where you are on the Earth. Now, the next thing is there is no separator between the 2 sets of numbers. So they're not sets of numbers, it's one long string. So again, DHS delivering something in Coventry, England or whatever, or a phone number. Makes more sense. Why does it have to be degrees, minutes, and seconds? Because someone implied it at one point. Also, interest on this died off after April 29th, 2018. It started up March 13th. Depending on how much you zoom in on the Google Trends thing, it'll show it at a different position, but it really shouldn't be there. Next. See also the differences between straightaway and homicide's channels. Yes, it was started by the same person, run by the same person. People have claimed he couldn't have just made another channel. He said he moved it to another channel. He didn't move it. He just made a new one and then mothballed the old one. Straightaway joined October of 2017 and joined Twitter. And the adding of homicide on Twitter was October 2014. Depending on when you look, however, it'll say a different thing. Because the archives will get it wrong, or it will show him making the channel completely invisible and having come back and act like he just joined again. Depending on how the system was working that week, it does. 17 of the 20 archives are really odd or blanked posts from the Homicide channel. 3 of them are clear and will have archives below with an asterisk next to them. 2Z2IU, 1XNLD, and CGITV. Those are the 3 that are visible and clear. Next, a posting was made by one of the channels, or not, depending on the screenshot and whether or not you could locate it. I hope you've enjoyed this social experiment. There's no reason to bother. I understand that some people felt cheated, but there is no reason to mistreat the creators of this. I hope they enjoyed it. And for that, no, I'm sorry. Good night. Good night. So this is him in an archive post that was screenshot saying, yeah, this is something that was, basically it was joke played on him. It was a Twitter posting by Homicide, aka Straightaway, Danger SOS, blah, blah, blah. User Uzumaki and UR Mahoney6 memed this to be about the black boxes in the airplane disappearing MH370. It has nothing to do with the guy. If I wasn't clear in the previous video, I should have been, and I thought I typed it up that way. I should also point out, if anybody's not aware of it, that YouTube did a YouTube purge, and I and many other people went through and blanked our channel contents, titles, in some cases the descriptions, so that we wouldn't get our channels flagged for the random word test that it was doing. Google occasionally gets very aggressive about shutting down channels for anything they can come up with. They only need 1 or 2 strikes against you to have an excuse to shut down the channel. They were going for it. And they will maintain a strike against your account at all costs, so they can always say, well, we don't need a reason, this is continuing bad behavior. Even though they eventually admit that they lied or that it was bullshit. They always have to keep at least 1 flagging on your account to keep you from, feeling comfortable. They want you to be afraid to upload. Just saying. Next. Many of the links I used at the time for the video are gone. Many of the archive.org links have been completely expunged. So let's review. What did the video originally say about the person running all this? The 2 Twitter accounts and also other accounts. It doesn't matter. This is the update. But if I gave the impression I was saying that he was lying about getting this, it's because at the time I actually didn't know. It didn't matter that Shane Dawson had put up an interview with him. Shane Dawson did not put up an interview named after him or after the subject matter. He put up a video about a lot of different things. It had more than one thing in it. Could have done a short interview with him or even a long one and done a much better job. Next, I recommend you watch the interview on Shane Dawson's channel because it does away with any memes. He was getting angry comments from people who were spoiling their fun trying to make this about the airplane. I should also point out that Mac Isaac, the guy who supposedly got Hunter Biden's laptop, has also done something to piss off the conservatives because he basically countered their narrative and got the same treatment, but still sticks to his guns about they can do no wrong. But anyway, so with a precision of anywhere from 80 to 101 feet, almost exactly 101 feet, degrees, minutes, and seconds is good enough. Now I want to bring up an example. Hiding treasure. You have degrees, minutes, and seconds, give it to one person, and then degrees, minutes, and seconds, give it to another person, say, upon my death, you 2 get together and compare notes. And you put E and N on it, or whatever. You can't leave it otherwise. Or just have it a decimal number, a string of numbers with a decimal point. That will keep it from getting confused. Next, this will get something plus or minus 100 to 80 feet of the location. Actually, much better than that in some cases. Next, you tell them, when you get to that, you leave a treasure map or a little story. Once you get there, look for a big rock and go to the top of it and look for a nail or whatever driven in the top. Okay, look exactly east, walk 100 paces, and start digging. That's how you do it. You find a physically interesting object, find its closest GPS location, make sure it's nothing within 200 feet of it is the same, and aim people at that. Hope that nobody comes along and takes the rock away for some sort of art project. You can bury, goodies that way. Or you can just use a decimal GPS and say, go here to these 2 number sequences, and it will literally point at it within plus or minus 1 foot. Which one would you use if you wanted to be found and not dead? Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. the message was a riff on the Red Sparrow intro in the movie Red Sparrow. That's it.